Hello, my friends. It's story time with Ben. So I wanted to tell you this story because earlier this week I was on a call with someone and I told them this story in a one-to-one Zoom call, and it ended up helping them out quite a bit. And so I wanted to tell you this story as well. And so that way maybe it'll help you in the same way that it helped this individual. Last year I wasn't doing YouTube of any kind at all. My business was focused entirely on Facebook Messenger bots. And the reason why it was my business was in a different area was because I was starting to invest for the very first time heavily into my business. I bought into a high-ticket mastermind. I said, like, you know what, I've always wanted to have my future be in this online world, so I'm gonna start investing heavily into this, and I'm gonna make this my future. And so once I started paying the money, then it's like, okay, now I need to decide what exactly I'm gonna do. I got all these different options, but I need to pick a road and take that road. And around this time, I had just created like this very complex computer bot for my Pokemon Go friends. And so I thought, like, hey, I got this talent that I can do that other people can't. And I learned it on my own. I can do this for my business. And that was that's a sound idea, that's a sound path. And that's usually how like a lot of people will like pick their career paths, their passions, their loves, and the things they're good at. And that's the path that I took for my business. Like, hey, I'm good at this. I helped a lot of people with this. I made a lot of people smile with this. So I'm going to focus my business on this. And I was like, this is something I was very good at. And I got clients for my business around this. And this went from, I want to say it was started around like February of 2019, and then to around December, like actually around New Year's, I went all the way to New Year's with doing Facebook Messenger bots. And then it was this weird, I would almost describe it as a midlife crisis kind of feeling. I had to sit down with myself and my feelings, and I realized that I just hated myself, and I hated where I was at. Every morning I didn't want to get up. It was this feeling of like, God, please take me from this earth today. And it's a feeling that maybe you've identified with this feeling before, but it's the feeling of like, I don't want to go to my job today. I don't want to go to my career today. That was the feeling that I had. Except I owned the business. It was my, like, I had created the monster that I was in. And I was like, what do I do? And I was stuck in a paradox, because then I could like, okay, I can either keep going with messenger bots, or I can take a completely different path and pick something different and move my business in that direction. And the crazy thing is that like part of me thought about, just keep going with messenger bots. And you might be thinking like, why, like, Ben, why keep going with messenger bots if you've admitted that you hate it so much? Because if I quit doing messenger bots at that point in time, remember I had invested almost a year of my time and even more of my money into this adventure. If I had changed directions, if I had said like, okay, I'm done doing messenger bots, I'm gonna go do something else. If I had changed directions, then it would have felt like I was admitting to failing, that I was admitting to like, okay, like, did I just waste all that time? Did I just waste all this money on this adventure now that I'm changing directions? And that's kind of what it felt like. It felt like I was in this paradox of either admitting that I had failed or changing directions and starting over. And what I had ended up going with was like, I didn't want to. The reason why I hadn't like started this direction was to be a master of my own destiny. The reason why I went into entrepreneurship in the first place was to be a master of my fate, and I didn't want to be a slave to my own creation. So I ended up changing directions and going with YouTube over messenger bots, and it ended up being one of the great, like, it was probably one of the greatest decisions I ever made. And what I found out from making that decision was that that entire previous year wasn't a waste of time. It wasn't me failing. It was just a necessary part of the journey. And I very much equate it to, there's a lot of people out there that you might find yourself in a similar situation where like maybe it wasn't a year of your time, but from you maybe it was 20 years of your time where you spent in education and in a job, and you suddenly find that you're not in, like, that this isn't for you, that you suddenly feel like you don't belong in this space. And changing is okay, because the last thing you want to do is find out like that this is like, whatever that was behind you, that's a necessary part of the journey, just like it was for me. You don't want to just say like, oh hey, this is fine, like this, like the meme says like, oh, this is fine, and then everything's burning down around you. You only get one shot. You get one ticket. And so if you feel like your calling was somewhere else, then go for it. Because everything behind you, like if you change directions, that's not failing. That's saying that something else out there is better for you. I've had a couple people that I've worked with, they've definitely been in the same boat. Like they've maybe gone to school and like they've really loved computers. So they maybe they learned programming, or they learned IT or something because they loved working with computers. But once they went through all that schooling, then they realized, oh man, I love working with computers and all that stuff, but I suddenly found out that I don't like working behind a desk and answering phones all day. And so their calling was something else, and that's okay. That journey that you've had so far was like, it wasn't a waste of time. It was a necessary stepping stone to get you to where you need to go. And so I want you to keep that in mind. If this helped you out, if this was your calling, I want you to seize it today. Start taking the steps to seize your destiny today. And as always, if this has helped you out, there will be more videos like this in the future. And be sure to thumb up this video and subscribe to see more of those videos. And as always, I look forward to seeing your smiling face in the next video.